So this is probe, what I can say it. So now you can go to part manager. Go to your different parts, whatever are available. Just check the preview of the parts. So this one I'll just put it as probe. And this part 7, it's an outer thing. I can call it as port caps. And this part 6 is nothing but your port, excitation port, I can call it. So actually the CAD should be done in this particular format, and a few other computations will be required if you are going with different sort of excitations. CAD should be basically done out of this particular format, sir. So maybe this antenna also, I'll take one antenna with a specification and then I'll design it. Maybe I can show it to you tomorrow. I'll just rework on that because this will take a lot amount of time. So we are left out with one more design today. So I'll complete that design, and then tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'll work on the patch with the proper dimensions, and I'll record a methodology with the steps based on which students can use that guide and can prepare that.
That will be fine, sir.
Okay, fine, sir. So let us just move out to the time domain also. So time domain solvers. So time domain solvers are like we'll be using FDTD as a standard principle for time domain. We'll be using it. So generally, this FDTD solver is completely based on the Maxwell equations. So the solving procedure in time domain is completely different. So basically, this is used for huge arrays, huge antenna arrays, printed circuits, and the other thunder lightning simulations on a large structure. Few examples are there. So actually, on the structure grid, we'll be calculating the electromagnetic field components both in time and space, based on which the computational efficiency, since it's solved in the parallel nature, you can get the solutions in a faster rate. So due to this wave ports, S parameter analysis and computations in the far field transforms make it suitable for broadband analysis. So exclusively, if you want to work on this FDTD time solvers, It's majorly on, like, you can use a wave ports, S parameter ports. The computation can be done very fast because the splitting in the time domain is completely different when compared to the frequency domain. So in time domain, we'll be actually splitting the problem into subcubes. So we'll be uh, completely dividing the problem into subcubes. We'll go through one example in time domain, wherein with we'll understand the procedure, how exactly it is going with. So, but it has a huge amount of steps. So carefully follow it. Even I'll also put a PDF at the side, and I'll try to show it to you so that you'll also have a parallel understanding. So let me just open that. So I'll drop down the file. I'll drop down the IGS file for E-shaped patch antenna. So this antenna will be actually dealing with, will be completely dealing it with time domain solver. Okay. So if we go for wireframing for this, so this E is a patch, and in between you don't have any other layers here. Also, we can consider air as a dielectric material. So few antennas are constructed in this manner as well. So bottom is nothing but your ground plane, and top of it, it's completely consists of nothing. So it's computed with air, and then E shape is nothing but shape of the patch antenna. We can create n number of shapes of the patch antennas based on the modeling what we want to do. It's not constrained to a shape. So based on the application, based on the frequency level what you're trying to go with, we can go ahead with that. So I'll try to arrange this particular side. So here we have two parts. One is metal part, and the other one is lump. This is nothing but your element, whatever you're using here. So this is the connecting element which is actually connecting your metallic part and the other region. So since both the elements are treated as metal, why exactly those are treated as metal is since both the elements should be metals. Patch principle is nothing but the intermediate layer, whatever you'll have, it should be a dielectric material. Either it could be air. Air has a dielectric constant of 1. So it could be air, and even you can go for RT duroid or the other structures. Similarly, the top layer, the patch layer, and the bottom layer, ground layer, should be made up of metallic layers in order to give out the proper reflections, and based on the patch shape what you have, the pattern and even the gain and even the directivity of your particular antenna will vary. So let us just get started with this particular thing, how exactly we have to go about. So simple description for this is this particular antenna will work from 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. So we have two parts. One part is completely made up of metal. So if I assign a metal for this, automatically all the parts will be assigned with a metal. Now I have to go ahead with a normal meshing. So here, when you are going with time domain solvers, the normal meshing does not have importance. Whatever meshing you are doing in the FD, that is you're doing in the time domain solver, that is majorly important. So this particular meshing will not completely solve your problem. So what we have to do is we have to go ahead with create mesh 2D. Let me go to mesh window first. Mesh window, go to 2D, and here I'll go with auto mesh. Auto mesh surfaces, I'll select the surface, both the surfaces. I'll just click on both the surfaces, click on convert to selection, and then I'll just click on create mesh. So here I'll take the element size as 100. So this doesn't have that much importance when you're going ahead with this particular meshing. So once you just click on create mesh and click on OK, you will be actually getting the meshing out of it. So once we are done with this meshing, then we have to switch up to SEM parameters. In SEM parameters, as of now, we have to go ahead with the time domain solver. Okay, time domain solver. So you have to set up your mode into time domain. So you're done with the meshing part here. This meshing doesn't add up any other things in the, it's just a proper splitting what you're doing on the existing structure. That's it. But the main meshing will be done in the SEM window in the time domain solvers. So exclusively on SEMTD now we are working on with. So here if you see, let us just go for visual SEM, the SEM window, and then here we have to go to view. Under view, let us just set it up to SEMTD. Okay, since we want to work on SEMTD, let us just go for SEMTD. So automatically the complete wizard will be switched down to SEMTD, time domain. Now what we have to do is, we have to draw a grid box around this particular structure whatever I've created. In order to do that, go to SEM. Under SEM, you will be actually having an option called as FD mesh. FD mesh. This is the one of the main mesh what you will be actually using inside your time domain solvers. So this mesh actually divides your problems in terms of cubes. Select this. Now it covers the region up to whatever your antenna is covered with. So it's a very good option, but we can extend it furthermore. So you can put it as -80, you can put it to +80. So just to ensure that we are getting a proper. Similarly, grid Y also you can move it a little bit, -80 to +80. And Z direction also, some proximity you can put it, -20 to +20. Yes, sir. Hello. Okay, I'll continue. Okay. So if there are any queries, just please raise your hand and put your query in the chat box so that I'll try to revert back. Yeah. So here I'm creating a first grid box around my surface with some proximity you can create it. So I've put some proximities and number of cells, how many number of cells you want to divide in all the regions. So if I put 20 and if I click on enter, what happens is it splits up 20 elements. It splits up 20 elements in all the regions actually. And it also adjusts your grid also. So if the grid is not sufficient for putting all the 20 cells in all the directions, then it actually adjusts your reference box length also. So you can either, so automatically once I click on my 20 cells, automatically it sets up my grid box. So I just want to create a 20 cells for my complete structure. So approximately like this, like 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell, 5 cell. In that particular format, we'll be actually getting the cells actually. So this is first step. And then we have to also resolve on the antenna part. We have to closely create a boundary box onto the antenna part as well. So we have to create a local box. So we have to put a min point and max points for the local boxes. So based on the antenna dimensions, whatever you have, you can go ahead with that. Click on the local box. So you can set up the grid boxes. This is purely based on the approximation. So you can just see the review also, how exactly you're getting it. Put some first, let us just put some random dimensions like 10 to 10, minus 10 to plus 10. And some put some delta as 2, and similarly the same dimensions for y also, minus 10 to plus 10. Put a delta t as 2. So if you see from minus 10 to plus 10, I'm getting only this particular region. It's not covering the complete part. So I'll scale it up. I'll scale it up to minus 82 plus 80. Okay, so it's covering somewhat. Like similarly in the minus, in the grid y also, I'm doing the same thing. Minus 80 to plus 80, and 2 is the dimension size. So you can also check the preview from the top also. So it's covering approximately, it's covering up. And similarly in the y direction, in the z direction also. So I'll try to put it around like 15, minus 15 to plus 15. We'll check the preview, how exactly we are getting it. Okay, so here now you can see we are getting a close proximity of the box. With this, actually your resolution will be defined. If your proximity is proper, in a very proper manner, if you're designing it, you will be getting a proper results. I mean, you'll be getting the accurate results. If even though if you're giving in a nominal way, you'll get the results. The accuracy level will vary a little bit. So here in the local box, you can also check it how exactly you have to go about. So you can also make this region to be closed up. So you can give the dimensions whatever the design file has been already checked with. So it's already, we have given from minus 35 to plus 35. So from minus 35 to 35 with the delta spacing of 1. Similarly, minus 14 to plus 31 the delta spacing of 1. Similarly, this one is minus 10 to 0 with the delta spacing of 1. So this completely is constrained on the E-shaped element. Whatever E-shaped element you have, we are completely concentrating on the E-shaped element, whatever we have. Okay. So now what we have to do is you have to get these parameters into this, and we have an advanced option also. So you can get the same parameters, and then you have the advanced option also, where you can select box 2 and increase ratio. You can put it as root 2 so that proximity level will be covered up. So you can see we have got one more box also, which is approximately covering up some extra distance. So in order to go with packed, or else you can use some extra spacing also, wherein with you'll be getting the final outcome. So once you've got this, the next option what you need to do is you have to just click on generate mesh. You have to click on generate mesh. So once I click on generate mesh, it takes me to the meshing tool page. Onto the meshing tool page, here we have to assign, either we have to go with a generic e-mesh, or we have to go with phased tartan mesh. So this is for E field. Whenever you're going for E field TD, you can go with this. Since you're going for SEM TD now, you can go with generic e-mesh. You can click on create FD mesh so that the meshing will get started up. So this is what is a grid box, what I was calling about. So since you have specified the number of cells in all the regions, you'll be actually getting a grid boxes. So here in SEMTD, in the time domain solver, what happens is the complete solving will be available in terms of boxes, in terms of blocks. So these blocks will be evaluated across. Now go to edit selections, select your regions, that is metal and lump. All the regions should be selected. Click on close. So once you got this, then we have to go ahead with create FD mesh. So already generic emesh you have specified it. Now if you just click on create FD mesh, we'll be actually getting a FD mesh out there. See, the complete part will be actually subdivided into subparts. You can see everything is evaluated in terms of square boxes. So it depends on number of cells what you want to define within that particular area, and number of boxes that you want to create, you have created it. So with this, actually the accuracy level of the result will be defined on. So once you're done with this, you can just close this. So once you close this, you'll be getting the design in this particular format where you can see all the grid cells. So this is how your particular solving is done in the particular time domain solver. So now,
Rohit, sir,
yes sir, yes sir.
the screen is it changed or we are looking box with the generate FDMS.
Are you not able to see this square shaped element, sir?
This coming your generate FDMS diagrams.
Oh, it's in the same page. Okay, okay. Wait a second, sir. I've just moved on to next step.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'll just once again reshare it. Yeah. So now is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
So here, after just clicking on the generate FD mesh, we'll be actually getting the mesh elements. So this is the FD grid. Okay, so this is how actually in time domain, basically it will be solved in terms of grid. So every complete structure will be completely divided into subgrid, like a small square shaped size, and then you'll be getting the results out of it. So time domain will solve the problem in this way. So whatever complex antennas you have, which are very complex in nature, if you go with time domain, basically it splits the complete problem into a small mesh cells part, and then we'll be getting the final structure in terms of FD mesh. So with this FD mesh, now we can start the resolving part. So we'll go with the next steps. So in the next step, what we have to do is you have to go for solver parameter. So under solver parameter, we'll be actually getting a CFL, which is 0.9. Let it be 0.9 itself. So this time step may vary based on if you're doing some changes in the code, like time step may vary. So just click on apply. So solver parameter, we have to apply first. And the next step, we have to go ahead with boundary conditions. That is, I have to assign a PEC boundary for both my regions. You can go to part manager. In part manager, for both your metal and lump, you can assign your PEC material, which is nothing but your metallic material. So click on close. So you've got a PEC here. Next, we have to create a boundary condition. Just like we create the exterior boundary, here we have to go ahead with a boundary condition. Let us go for outer boundary condition. So CPML of eight layers. So PML is perfect matched layer. So perfect matched layers, we are creating a eight layer box. So 8-layer box in the sense you can estimate one layer will be on the top, left side, right side, opposite side, and then this side. Not all the directions you'll be actually getting a complete shapes closed up. So that is nothing but your outer boundary condition, what we are creating for the problem, whatever we are using. Once you are done with this, click on apply. So outer boundary will be also available within your code. So you can see boundary conditions, you have PEC and outer boundary condition. So once this is done, now we have to assign the frequency. But here the frequency assignment is a bit different. So it's not pretty straightforward. You have to go to waveform instead of frequency. Here we have something called as waveform. you can click on the waveform. Here we have mode for the waveform also. So either you want to go for Gaussian mode, other different modes are available. But if you want to set up the frequencies, by default, Gauss mode is a required type what you have to assign. And here we have to also assign the frequency minimum and maximum. So as we have discussed earlier, this particular reshape patch antenna is working from 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. So I'll specify that 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. The frequency minimum is 2 gigahertz, maximum is 4 gigahertz, and the intermediate frequency automatically takes up. So 3 gigahertz it is taking up. Let the phase be 0 and just click on apply. So you will be getting one frequency. Basically, whenever you're solving these time domains, you have to go with 2 levels of frequencies and 2 levels of timing patterns what we have to give. In the later phase, we'll be adding up one more frequency also. Now what we can do is we can create a lumped element for this particular whatever we can see here, right? For the design, on the design for this particular element, we'll be creating a lumped element. So sources, let us just go for lump directly. You have lumped element, just click on lumped. So in the lump, specify it as positive z direction 1. So you can see so you can see a direction like this, and you can also specify a resistances also. So resistance should be your 50 ohms. So whenever you are creating a lumped port, by default for ports you have to have 50 ohms of resistance value. So here you can give the 50 ohms of resistance value and click on apply. So you'll be getting a 50 ohms of resistance. Your ID will be also set into this. So once you're done with that, so now I have to go to source ID, whatever source ID I'm seeing in that. Let me go to source ID. Here under the entity creation, I can find waveform ID as well, waveform ID, this one. And here I have to make sure my characteristic impedance should be 0, 50, and my magnitude should be 1. I mean, the voltage what I want to feed it to my port should be 1. It's just like lumped element you are creating it. Characteristic impedance you are setting up to 50 ohms, and voltage you are setting it to 1. And here the waveform ID, you can select the waveform ID whatever you have selected first. So this waveform 1 refers to the frequency of 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz whatever you have created. Click on OK. Even though now if you put the magnitude as 0 also, at the other end you can actually check out while you are going with the excitation, you will be actually getting 1 volt by default. Even though if you put 0 magnitude also, it works out. Click on apply. So once it is done, the source ID has been set up, loads have been set up. So if you see, once you get started with the lumped element, you have to set up the Z direction, I mean in which direction you want to radiate. And similarly, since it is connected from the ground direction, that's the reason I'm trying to project it out. If it is connected from the patch, you can project it down. So this, in this particular design, we are projecting it up. We are going with a resistance of 50 ohms. And similarly, source ID also specified. In source ID, I have given the waveform ID as 1, whatever frequency with which I want to sweep, and I've given the characteristic impedance as 50 ohms. So once it is done, your lumped configuration is also done. Just click on apply. So your lumped configuration will be set up. Once it is done, you will be getting in this particular format. That is what we have got just now. So once this particular thing is done, under SEM, you can see the part manager. So lump, whatever is available, we'll be assigning a lumped element for that. Okay, the metallic layer, whatever we have, that is the E-shaped patch and the ground plane, completely, those are with PECs. So done with the assignment. Now we have to set up the output parameters. While setting up the output parameters, we should require two definitions for your frequency and two definitions for your time steps as well. So if you see, we define two frequency definitions. One is of single frequency 2.57 gigahertz, at which surface currents and far fields will be calculated, and the second one will be ranging to 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz with 201 steps. So this thing we have to create it. Already we have created a frequency from 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. Now we have to go ahead with the another part. So under output parameters, basically if you see under output parameters, we have frequency and time. On which particular frequencies you want to work with, that particular frequencies we have to specify. So output parameters, specify the single frequency first, that is 2.57 gigahertz, and apply. Similarly, next one would be interval of frequencies, that is 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. With the 201 steps here. So click on add, 201 steps, you'll be getting it. Click on apply. So we have got two frequencies, frequency 1 and frequency 2, and the other one was waveform. Waveform is different and a frequency is different. Now we have to assign the times also. So go to output parameters, go to time. So one time slot, you can see it's between 0 to 1000 time steps. So you can specify stride as 200, that is nothing but your step size, and you can put your first sample at 0, last sample at 1000, and click on apply. After that, you can directly select one more covering the whole simulation with the step size of 2. So I'll just put a stride as 2, that's it, stride as 2, so that it covers up the complete simulation. So here what we are trying to do here is, under output we have specified two frequencies. Output parameters, we specified two frequencies. One frequency is at 2.57 gigahertz. That is only for calculating your surface currents, to see your surface currents and the other things, and the far fields as well, because the antenna is perfectly radiating at that particular frequency. And the other range, that is from 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz, it is just to test how exactly your antenna is working in all the ranges. And next we have specified the time steps, so we can solve your problem in terms of time steps as well. So the benefit with this TD is basically you'll be getting two result files rather than one result file. One is on frequency part, the other one is on time part. So once we have allocated all these things, all these output parameters, you will be getting this thing. And now we have to assign a far field sphere. So just like we do for the other antennas, here also we have to go for far field sphere. Let us go for outputs. Under outputs, we have far field sphere. So here we have to put up a step size of 1 degree step in both the theta and phi direction, just like what we do in the basic antennas. So here we are creating a far field around your particular antenna in order to see the responses of the far field patterns around the antenna. So click on this, apply. So once you apply it, far field 1 will be saved. Now we have to go for excitations. So just let us go for excitations part. Excitations, go to single excitation, click on single excitation. This window is also called as multiple source window, but multiple source window is a bit different one. I'll try to evaluate and I'll get back to you on that. So excitation window is a basic window. Whenever you have single excitation on the antennas, this particular window will help you out to go ahead with. And here if we see, basically we have created a lumped circuit. So assign, you can select the lumped element, whatever you have checked. And here there is one more thing what we have to go ahead with. You have to just right click on the frequency thing click on the FD scaling source. So you have to turn on the FD scaling source. Then only your particular FD mesh will work out. So even though you also observe this FD option in the other domains also, like in the like in the PAM-SEM FD, in the SEM FD also you'll be observing it. But in FD scaling will be actually coming to use when you are going ahead with time domain solvers. So here we have to specify the far field and the other things. So here if you see, we have to specify the lumped element, we have to specify the frequency 1, frequency 2, etc. So frequency 1. So let us just go for far field. Go for, since I want to analyze my far fields only in 2.57 gigahertz, what I can do is I can assign my far field first. After that, I have to assign my frequency. So frequency, I'll go for first frequency because the first frequency was assigned for 2.57 gigahertz. So I'm selecting that. Click on OK. Done with this. Next part, what we have to do is we have to go for surface currents, or else the currents you can specify. Currents. Select your same frequency first part, and even time domain also you can go ahead with the first. That is time slices. I want to use it from 0 to 1000 with a 200 step size. So this is for my currents. Similarly, lumped circuits, whatever I want to analyze, this is for the whole frequency sweep. Whole frequency sweep is allocated in frequency underscore 2. I'll show you what is frequency underscore 2 and time output underscore 2. So, and I want to allocate lumped circuits for all the samples. So I have to go with time sample of 2. So I'm done with this particular assignments. And here the simulation time option, you can put it as to 6000. So here we are setting up the time option to 6000 as a maximum part. So it evaluates from 0 to 6000 in a different step sizes, whatever you have specified for. Let the input voltage be available with 1. So as I've told you earlier, we didn't give any magnitude. Here the magnitude will be taken into consideration. You can just click on apply and OK, so that your particular excitation will be completed. So now your excitation is already completed. As I've told you, I just want to show you what is frequency 1 and 2. Frequency 1, if you see, it's 2.57 gigahertz. As per the design documentation, on 2.57 gigahertz frequency, I just want to analyze the surface currents and also my far field patterns. That's the reason in the excitation, if you see, for currents and far fields, I have specified frequency 1. And similarly, if you go for frequency 2, it is nothing but it's running from 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. So I want to analyze the complete lumped element structure in this particular thing. That's the reason in excitations for lumped circuits, I have given the frequency 2. And similarly, time output to 4 is nothing but 2 sample size you have mentioned here. So time output 3 is nothing but 200 split size, step size you specified. First is 0 and then last is 1000. You are specifying it and you're running it. Similarly, time output 4 is nothing but your step size as 2. So once this is done, just let us close it up. And now we can save the complete project. We can save the project, like go with save project. Let us just go for desktop. Let us just go for sem1 underscore work. Create a new folder for E-shape patch antenna. Select it. So your design will be saved. And then we have to go for the job manager. And also I can go for my save of the VDB file also. So it's always a better option after saving your project, also save your file into a directory, because if you want to do some basic differences, then you can directly do it from the VDB file. If not, again, you have to start it from the IGS. That's the reason VDB is a preferred one. So now let us just go for run. It takes a few seconds or a few minutes to validate it. So this is the detailed procedure if we are going with a SEMTD. And we have one more methodology, which is E-field TD. We'll try to explore one example in that as well. So we are left out with E-field TD and a high frequency solver and a MDMM technique example. So we'll try to cover it up on Monday, but this is now running. Just we'll wait for a few minutes to just validate this. In the meanwhile, if anybody has any queries, any doubts, please go ahead.
Yeah, Arvind, you have questions? Then you can raise the question.
Hello.
Yeah, Arvind. Any other student has a questions?
So it's already done. We are done with the simulation results. So now let us just check out the results part. So if we go for viewer, if you go for viewer and if you go for file import and plot curves, so here we may have two different ERFH5 files. Instead of ERFH5, here it is MSH. So for frequency domain, whatever results you are getting, it's like ERFH5. For time domain, whatever results you're getting, it is MSH5 file what you're getting it. Let me just open the file. Okay, it went to some other file. Okay. So sim1 underscore work E-shape patch antenna. So we are getting frequency and time. You can specify the frequency first. So for this, we can go to result contour. So we can see the results in field patterns.
Rohit sir,
Yes, sir.
you are showing something?
Are you able to see, sir? No.
Yes, sir. I think closing this.
Oh, 1 second, sir. So now are you able to see this, sir?
Yes, sir.
So this is what is a pattern what we've got it from E-shaped patch antenna. So here in this particular time domain solvers, what we have is when we open the result files, basically we'll be getting a time domain solution and frequency domain solution. So you can see the frequencies domain solution frequency thing, and even the other results also you can visualize. So here, if I select frequency, I'll be getting the results in terms of frequency parts. So already I've selected frequency.erfh5 file. So we have only one excitation what we are giving it for this particular file. So we are getting the results in this particular format. So you can also visualize, maybe it's just went out, 1 second. I'll load up the resource file also once. So you can drop down the time file and you can see the currents, and similarly you can drop down the uh, frequency file and you can see the far field reports. So this is how we have got it, the same kind of pattern, whatever we have got. So we can check it out. So here we can actually go to import and plot curves. So you can go with time first. 1 second. So in this way, we can actually get the results out of your complete design. So you can also check the other parameters also in the frequency domain. So once you're done with this particular parameters, you can check one parameter after the other. Just you can go ahead with import and plot curves. Here you can go ahead with, so you can calculate the reflection coefficient also. So you'll be getting a reflection coefficient at that particular frequency, almost at 2.57 gigahertz of frequency, you're getting a peak. So this reflection coefficient is nothing but your S parameter, what we can call it up. So we can evaluate the S parameter, and similarly, if you want to go ahead with spherical grid, if you want to go ahead with a field pattern, Okay, this is how we are getting a response. So if you plot the complete parts, maybe you will be getting the final results. So once you plot any graph, you can also go ahead with the properties of the complete plot, and you can set up the minimum dimensions and the all other things. Like you can put it to, since in my region actually I've started my phi value from 0 to 360. That's the reason it's only validated from 0 to 360. But if I go for minus 180 to plus 180, I'll get the complete pattern. So that is one thing what we have to look about. So it is coming up to this particular part. So here we'll be getting a continuation pattern out of it. So it's like from minus 180 to plus 180, if you plot it, you'll be getting a complete response. So since in my far field sphere, I have used only 0 to 360 degrees, I've got up to this particular part. Or otherwise, what I can do is I can specify it up to 360 part. The coverage is up to 180 degrees. So that's how you have to observe it. So based on this validations also, maybe few people are getting a half result. That is what you have specified, right? Those things we can work on it. So with this, we'll close today's session, sir. Maybe I don't know. Students are having a class, sir, right now after this.
I think UG student they have.
Okay, okay, fine.
MTech student only.
So should I share this document, sir? The TD document,
Yes,
whatever I've.
yes.
Okay, I'll share this over the mail.
Now they will get to the 2 days, 29, 30. So they can practice this.
Yes, yes, correct, sir.
Sir,
Correct.
so I think we have to look once geometry design again, one
Yes,
example.
geometry design is one thing which is lagging, and the multiple source window, what we have missed out. That thing we have to cover it up, sir.
Yes. And we are expecting one placement of antenna on some structure.
Okay. Placement. We'll look at it, sir, because I mean the remaining examples also I should go ahead with them. So I'll look at it, sir. If possible, definitely I'll show you one example on that as well. I mean, you want a placement or else you want the analysis, sir. Analysis is also fine. Sir, do you want the placement to be done on the geometry, or else like already existing geometry with the analysis? Can I show it to you, sir? How is it?
Yeah. Existing will be fine because you can save the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So geometry design just for the and before antenna, what are the process? Because few student they know the CAD, so
Okay.
they can come. Few student not they are knowing the CAD.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so at least they will get a very simple idea how point wise they can create the either patch antenna or any other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I think that will be good. And one placement means if already is there, then how that patterns get distorted because of the structures.
So I'll share this thing, sir. So we are left out with those things. So we'll try to complete it on the Monday, sir. Monday is the same time, right, sir? 9 to 1.
Yeah, 9 to 1. Yes. If they are ready, little bit time like they have, then just you check once from your side. I think it's fine. I think this session is very good now. They have learned 5, 6 problems.
Yes, sir.
So today already dipole array they have done. Now patch antenna is a patch antenna. Is it any other problems also there with the time domain?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Another
Okay.
problems are also there. Yes.
And RCS is also is there, sir, now?
Yes, yes. RCS. I mean, if you want to go with time domain RCS, also you can do it, sir.
Yeah, I think if one problem, then we can have that. So next session, what we can do, we can start 9:10 directly without waiting the student.
Yes, sir.
A student can join 8:50 around, or maybe 8:45 something. And let's 9 o'clock. If everyone is there, then 9:10 we can start. So 30 minutes. If problems are there, then we
Yes.
can have till 1 o'clock or 1:30 at least.
Yes, sir.
And what time he is joining? Is it he will take 30 minutes for discussing?
He'll be joining at the ending part, sir. Maybe at 12 or so he'll be joining it.
Okay, so we will give 30 minutes for sir.
Yes.
And if I have some questions, or maybe he can give some expert
Yeah,
related
he can also give some
experience.
very
Okay.
good things, sir. He's
Yeah, without waiting the question, we can have like a what expertise we can utilize. So he can give the what is the experience he has.
yes, sir.
And maybe then we will think about the extension of this.
Okay, fine, sir.
Students, you have any other questions now? Because we have to bind up this. So for today's we will create the assignment related to the your dipole array type of antenna, one of the patch antenna. You can go with the E-shaped or maybe other circular shape, something different type of antenna. I think files are there, so you can try that. Time being, if you're facing with the geometry issues, then you can use the .igs file available in the example file itself. Okay, and who knows the kind, might be they can go ahead with that. Arvind has one question, I think. Just will check. This will be a little bit bigger thing, I think. Sir, is there any antenna model with the spacecraft model is there?
I mean, antenna on a spacecraft, sir.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to look onto it, sir, because I have a
This is a
library.
special case, so if recorded also is fine, not a problem.
Okay, fine, sir. I'll check onto it, sir. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll
Either you have vehicles related, let's automotive vehicles related, some antenna placed on that, or maybe UAV, or maybe if aircrafts also is fine, particular. And is it possible any interference related analysis on the symbol?
Yes, sir. I mean, you can plot this. For example, if you're taking two antennas on the same structure, you can see the interference of one antenna on the another antenna. Actually.
आईडी कार्ड
आप वॉलेट अच्छा वो सब नहीं लेके आता कार्ड वगैरह
Siali,
आई डोंट थिंक कनेक्ट करने के टाइम पे
your mic is on now.
entering
You have a
India.
question? Siali, I think she forget. Yes, sir. You was. Rohit, sir, you was telling. Sir.
Yes, sir. I'll check onto it, sir, because we have some design cases also where I can share you the PDFs also on that. If there is a design file also, we'll share it across and we'll try to look onto it.
Yeah. So what we have done during the class now.
Yes, sir.
Once session closed, then we can share the live examples.
Okay.
So at least they can validate what they have done and what you have done. So at least they can get the idea what are the mistakes are there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I think
Yeah.
Chaitanya sir is not there, no?
Chaitanya sir
Thank
is
you,
available.
students. If you have questions, then raise. Otherwise, we will close now. Okay, sir. I think we will leave them. Thank you so much, sir. We will
Yeah.
meet tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, sir. Sir, one more thing. If anybody has any queries, I mean, they can post it to my mail ID, sir. Tomorrow
I
I'll
give
be
the
available.
mail ID to the
Yes, yes,
group.
yes.
So if they want to like send a mail also,
Yes, sir.
they can send directly.
Yes, yes, yes.
I think they will get 2 days. So 2 days they can practice all types of the antenna.
Correct, correct.
Maybe because now they have a file, so they can practice the others also without waiting other problems.
Okay, okay, fine.
We can go ahead with the standard advanced problems.
Okay, sir, fine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
We will leave now.